Fellas, welcome back in for another year of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, thank you. I'm off like about 5 hours of sleep. Big delays in the flights coming in from Germany to Bangalore, so I'm fucking wrecked, Jordan. But I'm here for the love of the game. You know, I'm here for the love of the game, and I'm just happy to be here.
Aren't we all? What about you, Pilski? How are you feeling? You look sprightly today.
Yeah,
Bro,
look great.
I'm fantastic because I've done nothing but touching grass, going to the beach, working out, you know, just living the child lifestyle. So, yeah, I had a massive roof in my leak and that got fixed. So apparently being close to 30, like nothing will make you feel better than fixing a leak in your roof. You're just like, oh my God, that's amazing. There's not a better feeling than that.
I don't know if you meant to do that, but you said a massive roof in your leak, which I guess really indicates how big of a leak it was. But anyways, Bleh, I wanted to ask. At the HLTV Awards, I'm sure there was a lot that sort of went down that we need to know. Who was the favorite person, or who was your favorite person that you met at the HLTV Awards? You know, was there a cool interaction?
I mean, obviously, it's always great to meet a lot of the usual homies, right? Like, you know, obviously, I'm talking about Chad, it was Alex, it was, you know, Henry G, Paula, it's kind of the Commonwealth, basically. That was fun, but meeting, for me personally, again, you know, with the Asian connection and everything, I think there were a lot more... you know, people kind of tertiarily associated with the industry coming in. A lot of people I wouldn't know, you know, but by face. But it was really cool for me to see the Semper Fi guys. Right, I believe they are boot camping right now over there. So they had the opportunity, they got the invite, and they showed up. And I don't think any other team apart from, you know, the ones who were nominees. Right, we had some of the Falcons guys, we had the Vitality, a few of the Spirit guys. Apart from that, just, you know, mostly retired players here and there. That's about it. So I didn't get to see too many players, which kind of sucked, honestly, because I feel like having more players would be great because they are basically the foundation of everything, right? No players, no HLTV awards, no HLTV, no nothing, no us as well. So really cool to see the Semper Fi guys, actually meet them in person, because I've only seen the older Aussie guys, right, in the eXTREMESLANDs back in the day, the minors. So actually kind of seeing all these lads were great, super sweet, super well dressed as well. And it was meeting Ben the Legend, fucking legend, mate. Like the guy made me and Henry look like kids, basically, like novices in the partying world. I kind of impressed. You know, when I grow up, I want to be like him.
Well, I mean, you're already growing up. You were just talking
I'm
about
getting there.
all the aches and pains you've come back with. You know, you go to an event for one day, it's like, oh, I can't feel my legs.
It's 4 fucking days, Jordan.
Yeah, but all right, mate, whatever. Child's
All
play,
right.
really. Pilski, what random Valorant fact have you got for us today that you just can't wait to get out on the show?
I mean, I don't have any crazy facts other than, you know, Pacific kickoff starts in like 9 days. So off to bloody Korea again. And they are doing a fucking triple elimination bracket. So that's going to be fucking crazy, bro. I've never had to say middle bracket. I've never had to say middle bracket on a esports broadcast before. They're going to the middle bracket. Oh my God, they're in the middle bracket, guys. I can't wait to see if they get knocked into the lower bracket or not.
So they say they use upper, middle, and lower?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Why not
Because
lose a
there's
bracket?
3 qualification
It is a loser bracket,
slots.
really.
So you play, I might call it the mid bracket. If you're there, you're mid.
You are.
That's actually bad. So you have like, mid bracket. You have winners bracket, mid bracket,
and
losers.
Losers.
Yeah.
Losers. All right, no losers here. Only winners. Well, we'll see. Obviously, we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to roster shuffle. So maybe there's some losses in there. Maybe there's some wins. We'll talk about all those important roster shuffles. Obviously, Senzu as well made it into the HLTV top 20. We've got to touch on that. He's apparently also open to offers and maybe even moving to the AWPROL. We'll break that down. We'll wrap up eXTREMESLAND.
All right.
And we'll touch on the train out cache in map pool change as well. So if you're here for the Counter-Strike discussion, it starts now.
Cache,
and...
you mean Anubis?
Cache. Did I say cache?
You said Cache.
I've written Cache. I don't know why. I think I have in my head just I have this dream of seeing Cache come back in. You're right.
Because everyone's been talking about Cache, and then Anubis comes out, and people are like, "Oh, that's great, Cache."
Go back to the days of fucking us doing EPLB streams, and all the Americans are like, "It's Cache, bro. Shut the fuck up."
I literally it didn't even factor into my head there that I had said the wrong map. I just thought you were going to rib me for saying Cache and not Cache. That's actually where I thought you were going with that.
Bro, I've got a fucking roof in my league, and you're saying Cache.
That's it.
I like the way you guys say it. It's just I can't say it. It's like, you know, I got a block in my head, like Cache.
Yep.
Cache.
Yeah. Fuck, I can't do it. Yeah.
All right. Counter-Strike discussion starts now.
Yep.
Biggest one, probably the one that everybody wants to hear us talk about, is the new addition to the Mongolz. And obviously, in relation to that as well, is Controlez stepping away. So let's just get into that. Cobrazera, obviously, coming into this lineup, he has come from the Huns. Controlez is obviously stepping down or moving away, as he was just a temporary stand-in. And he's actually going back to the Huns. So it's essentially just a player swap here for these two players. But Cobrazera, a much different kind of brand of player, I guess, than what Controlez was coming in. I think Controlez was someone that, you know, when they brought him in, they kind of needed like a last-minute stand-in, someone that they could somewhat rely on in a sense, having had some experience, and he was the kind of guy that could just step in and do what's needed. But when you look at this change with Cobrazera now coming in, it's kind of like, okay, this is a guy that they're looking at and saying, he's someone for the future. He's probably going to take a little bit longer to integrate and work with, and, you know, obviously quite a young player. So what do you guys think about Cobrazera coming in here? And, you know, the fact, obviously, as well, that Senzu is maybe not part of that discussion. We'll talk about Senzu more at length later, but, you know, it does beg the question, right? Like, why didn't Senzu just come back in? If they're going to get rid of Controlez after he had done relatively okay, I would have thought. Why was Senzu maybe not the guy to come straight back in? Why Cobrazera? What do you guys think?
Firstly, you did mention the Controlez went back to the Huns, but did he play in the Huns before? I thought it was Chinggis.
He was in
He
Chinggis.
played on Chinggis. Yeah.
On Chinggis, right? He never really was with the Huns. Let's look at the positives here. 2026, I promised myself I'm going to be more positive in life, Jordan. I'm going to start right here.
Good.
Right?
Yeah, let's go.
That's
No,
gonna
no more
last
being, no
fucking
more
2
being
weeks.
an
We're
Irish
almost at the
racist.
end of that.
Hey, we'll see how long
That's
it
your
lasts.
resolution. It's fucking. It's gonna last on this podcast, mate.
Listen, we're like 13 days in, all right? Give it a break. Now, Controlez going to the Huns, I think it's a great. This goes back to what I used to talk about, you know, players kind of having a transfer of knowledge, so to speak. The Mongolz, we all know, you know, they owe no one anything. They're doing it on their own, which is cool. But for Controlez, is someone who was in IGL for Chinggis, right? He's been wearing the IGL hat for a while. Now he's played for fucking major and, like, you know, 3 S-tier events basically totally under the Maaraa system. I just want to imagine that he's going to take as much as he's learned from that system and how they operate and what they do, and kind of bring it to the Huns, right? And in turn slowly spread it amongst the rest of the teams. I think that's going to be cool. So I'm actually looking forward to see how Huns are going to play in the next couple of weeks and next month or so. I think that's pretty cool. I think Cobrazera coming in, I believe it's the right choice. There was a little part of me who wished Senzu would come back. I won't lie. I think everyone wanted that to happen, right? But clearly there's something else going on there, which, as I said, we'll talk about later on. But I think Cobrazera, the eye test, when it comes to pure raw mechanical ability, I think he's got it, right? I think he has what it takes. It's just when it comes to decision making, a lot of moments is where I've had my questions about him. But I think at this point, I have full faith in Maaraa. Complete faith
100%.
in what he does with whoever he can pick up. So I don't even think that it really doesn't matter who it is. And I think Cobrazera is, you know, the pick of the lot, so to speak, in the region. They've taken a sweet time. So I'm looking forward to it. And I even made a hot take on I think at the awards. I think when HLTV asked me a question, they're like, well, what's a hot take for you this year? I'm like, I think Mongolz are going to win another event in the first 6 months.
I mean, yeah, I
It's a
suppose
hot
that's
take,
kind of
but-
hot. I suppose it is kind of hot because, like,
But I think it's doable. I think Cobrazera is just going to hit the ground
ground
kind of running. The only problem for me, obviously, is going to be the playoffs. You know, just hope.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while. Everyone struggles when you get into a big playoffs of a big event. So I think that's going to take a while. But apart from that, I think he's a great pickup. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen him play as much as of lately, but at least watching the Huns rosters in the past, I don't think I've necessarily been like wowed by him. Like, I've never looked at Cobrazera and been like, this guy is fucking unbelievable. Like, you know, I've seen that from score. Like, whenever I think about Huns, I've seen that from score in the past, even though he's a bit up and down nowadays, and he's definitely like not hit the peaks of where he used to be coming up from D13 and all that kind of stuff. Like, Cobrazera for me is not really a WoW player. Even I would say, to be honest, I've seen more WoW factor from Controlez just farming, like, you know, in some of these Asia tournaments and doing just outrageous bullshit. For Cobra, I mean, I guess he'll be able to fit into the Mongol system because Huns has had like a pretty good system and a couple of experienced players as well. So we'll see what we're going to get from him. But again, this is just, for me, another like not super WoW player replacing Senzu, which, you know, is not going to be like for like. I think it's like, for me, it's equal to Controls. I don't think it's any better or worse. And so for that reason, I'm still a little bit skeptical that they're going to hit the same heights. I don't think he's a bad player or anything, but I'm just not like ecstatic about it.
I agree with you, but I'm just gonna chip in. I'm gonna just play devil's advocate here, and I believe
Sure.
like you did point out, like how he's not someone who pops off, like let's say, like I said, like we have some of these crazy Mongolian players who have these moments and whatnot, but I don't really recall too often. I could be mistaken, smaller sample size or whatnot, but I don't really recall watching him play and being like, "What the fuck are you doing, mate? Like, what the fuck are you doing?" Like, he seems to just be a solid overall player, and while he might not have the more pop-offs and some of the more crazier frag hungry sort of attitude in the server as Senzu, for example, or even Controlez when he's just farming people. I feel like I've not really seen him make too many mistakes where I've been like, what the fuck are you doing at all? So maybe that's a criteria perhaps for the Mongolz. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with it, but yeah, I think it's going to be more of the same for Mongolz. If I was to make a prediction, I don't think that Senzu is necessarily replaceable, and they're kind of just working their way through different candidates. It's a different approach now, right? We've gone from Mongolz picking up players out of obscurity that end up being incredible, like overperforming to a ridiculous amount, to now we're actually working our way through the Mongolia tier 2 system and choosing which players we actually want to bet into the Mongol system. And I don't see it changing very much. I think Mongolz will still be a very good team as they are, but I don't know. I kind of feel like they've already hit their ceiling, and now I think they're just going to kind of be a team that floats around, the top 10, top 15, similar to their level with Controlez. Be impressed if they can discover some more of that form, and Cobra has an uptick in form, becomes a star player, the likes of Senzu or maybe one of the other players steps up to that level. I still think Mongolz will be a very good team, and Cobra can definitely fit in with their system, but they don't need just another okay player. They need some fucking star power in Mongolz because they've got a good system, they've got good players. They need a bit of that wow factor, I think.
What are your thoughts? Just general question. What are your thoughts on like roles being switched around a little bit, right? Like for example, Cobra playing, let's say, some of the more bitch roles, like Techno's positions, for example, and Techno being put into what Senzu used to do back in the day. Because here's the thing with someone like Techno, right? You look at him from the eye test, he doesn't make mistakes. Rarely does. Like, just from pure mechanical ability, decision making, he seems to be the best in the team. But the numbers just aren't there, mainly because of some of the roles he's playing. I think that could be interesting, right? Just push up Techno to take the reins of being a star player, so to speak, again. And then you have Cobra kind of, I think a lot of teams did it as well recently, where, you have a new player coming in to a team just already established, they put in the star player roles and they just struggle quite a bit. Instead, let him play some safe spots for a while, get used to the system and how you guys operate. And then maybe if he does deliver, you can swap things around.
I think it's a valid
point. Almost like Netic-esque in FlyQuest, where, that's what I was
exactly what I was
going
to say. Yeah.
They tried to put him in the star roles and it just didn't work.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways that they can go about it. I wouldn't necessarily hate seeing Techno get a little bit more resources in that team. I think he's someone that we've seen in the past, recently, even things like EWC, where when things are going well for him, things can go really, really well for him. Is he going to be able to do that on as consistent of a basis and hit those kinds of levels and numbers that Senzu was? Jury's out. I think that's a pretty tough ask, obviously, but I thought that was honestly the direction that the team would go in. Even before Senzu kind of came into the lineup, was always that it's going to be a bit techno focused, and then obviously things went a different direction with the new young guns. You know what I would say about this edition with Cobrazera is, and it's maybe not quite the same, but it feels in a similar vein to maybe when Senzu was brought in, when 910 was brought in, when Mzinho was brought in, and it was kind of like, this wasn't like necessarily the pick like that you would have like back then. Remember, like it was like Annihilation was the guy, Scores the guy, these kinds of names.
Yep.
And then obviously long term things have inevitably always worked out for the Mongols. So I think I would just to wrap up this little discussion, kind of echo what you said at the very start there, Blair, is that I think there's no reason for us to doubt the Mongolz and particularly Maaraa and obviously Blitz at this point, right? They haven't really missed when it comes to roster changes. I mean, this one has obviously been one that's been forced upon them, so it will be the most difficult one, I think, to actually pull off in any significant way and find an upgrade in that sense. But previously speaking, I don't think they've ever really made a downgrade, right? Every single roster change has kind of always been an upgrade.
When was the last? Yeah, go on.
I mean, I disagree that it's like 910 or Mizzino because these are players that were picked from obscurity. I think it's closer to something like a Senzu where they're picking
Yes.
up a player that's like a known quantity. You know, you're not picking up a unknown player. You're picking up a player who's absolutely a known quantity, who's played a fuck ton in the Mongolian scene, and everybody knows what you're going to expect from him. So they're not gonna pick him up thinking like this guy's going to get like 50 times better or something like that. I don't think they're picking up a player that they know could do X or Y. And then, they're thinking, I guess, that they can make something else happen in the team if he could just do what he's done. Or maybe they really do see some potential that they can actually extract from him. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've seen so much like roster changes and in CS, and we all have at this point. And this roster move doesn't excite me. Even though it's Mongolz. Like, Mongolz have already proven me wrong so many fucking times, and their scouting has been great, and they've turned players that I didn't have any expectations for into fucking world beaters, So, like, yeah, you do have to give them some respect and some credit there, but, like, I don't know, man. Like, this is just my genuine sentiment. Like, I just pick up a player from Huns that's just okay, and I'm like, yeah, okay, sure.
Senzu averaged 1.03 rating in his 1-year stint in NKT against Asian opposition, by the way.
Yeah.
So
I don't
Senzu,
I don't know that we were excited when he was picked up. Like, I think
no one was.
Literally, I was like, lol, he's gonna steal their skins or some shit. Like, I think that was my reaction.
No.
And he becomes a fucking top 20 player. So yeah, fuck it.
I just that's the thing. Like, I feel like they've never made even getting a fucking standard like Controlez. And we're all like, what the fuck are you doing, Maaraa? And then they make the playoffs of 2 big events, major as well. So like I said, at this point, if I were to just keep questioning them, I just feel like I'm being an idiot myself. So I'm gonna have some faith. I'm gonna see. Cobra is a known quantity, yes, but he's a better known quantity than the last 3 pickups they've had. Senzu, who struggled at NKT, Mizzino and 19, who are basically just unknowns right there, right? So, yeah, full faith.
I love this new Bleh. Positive mental attitude. 2026 is your year. That's what I think. That's what I think. All right, let's move on to the next change. Tyloo have added 0, obviously to the detriment of Attacker, who is
so fucking back.
Retiring, although he's going to stick around. This seems to be the blueprint or the formula for these Chinese teams now. It's like, get the old guy. Rare Adam did it with Kaze. Tyloo have done it now with Attacker. Have him play for a little while, and then push him into a coaching role. How much of a coaching role is he actually going to take? What's he actually going to do? Obviously, Zoking is there as the coach for Tyloo as well. So, Zoking and Attacker as a coaching duo sounds pretty good, actually, when you're talking about Chinese Counter-Strike.
Also, if you need to stand in, it's fucking great.
Literally.
Amazing.
Pick whichever one you want.
Need to stand in.
Yeah. And then, 0, obviously, the addition. So, first of all, I guess the reaction to Attacker moving on, for me, was, I think, probably warranted. Maybe we were getting to that point where like it felt like Tyloo kind of needed a change somewhere. We kept talking about potential. We kept talking about this team really looks like they could do something, and they're starting to give me like the Greyhound core energy in a way where it's like, yeah, these guys are really good. They're really good, and we'll see it. We'll see it soon. And now it's been like a year and a half, 2 years of having that core lineup, and you're like, when are we going to see the thing? What about one more roster change? One more roster change, and they'll be the best team in Asia. Is this going to be that one more roster change? I don't know, but it kind of felt like they've been given enough legs with that Attacker lineup, and something needed to change. And Attacker was obviously the easy one to sort of pick at and say that's the piece that kind of needs to come out. I think a lot of people are looking still at G under a bit of a microscope as well, just in terms of his level of consistency maybe, and the Chinese community are not huge fans of G, as I understand, as an AWPer. But, again, that's an aside. That may be something that happens down the track, but at least in isolation, I felt like Tyloo probably did need a change at some point, and it seemed to me that Attacker was the one that should depart the lineup, and I'm pretty happy with the pickup that they've made, because we watched 0 most recently, obviously Pilski at eXTREMESLAND. He was absolutely cracking. He's got good numbers online in things like the ESL challenges and whatnot. So has kind of come from not from nowhere. I want to say he's pardon the pun, but he's gone from 0 to hero in a sense, right? He was not someone that we really had much of a spotlight on this time last year, but on the latter half of this time in 2025. But in the latter half of 2025, I think he's really kind of like stepped up and made a bit of a name for himself and done really well. So I think it's a good change. Roles-wise as well, seems to fit pretty nicely in terms of a transition into attacker's positions. So I think this could be pretty good for Tyloo, but I've been saying the same thing for the last 2 years about a lot of what they've done, and it's still not paid off. So will this be the one?
Once again, I'm going to be positive here. I'm not going to talk much about Zero as a player because I haven't had the opportunity to watch him. Honestly, like you guys, you saw him eXTREMESLAND and everything, so I think you can talk more about him. I want to just give a very quick flowers to Attacker. Right, this is an all-time modern day Counter-Strike Asian GOAT. Great. I think greatest ideal word to use over there, right? He's been around for a very long time, and everyone remembers when he was coming out. Like when people are talking about snappy, crazy Asian aim, it was this guy. It was this motherfucker, right? And over Zoking, over everyone. He was like the star player before your Jam Youngs came about, before your Moziers and Mercuries and all these new kids on the block. So I feel like he has definitely had a very, very great storied career. He's still reasonably pretty young, 29 years of age. And I believe he's also been a guy who's just been this stalwart of the Chinese scene, so to speak, And correct me if I'm mistaken, we did put him in our top 20.
Oh, absolutely. He would have been.
We put him in, right? So top 20 over the course of like 13 years since, the advent of CSGO. No pun intended. Advent shout out one more time. I think that's just great. I think he's done a great job. But yes, I feel like currently when Tyloo are no longer a team who are just trying to duke it out with the local opposition, and you have to upgrade your firepower in a world of your fucking, your vitality, in a world of your spirits. If you want to punch up to that level, you need to have every single finger you're able to basically fist your opposition. And unfortunately, Attacker, I think it's time. When it comes to fragging out, he's been just struggling quite a little bit too much. Even though he had like a couple of pop-off maps here and there, right call to make. For Zero, I'm kind of happy here, even though I don't know much about him, just the stats. It's no longer just recycling players. It's not just picking up another player from the Invision or picking up another player from, one of the steel helmets or whatever out there, or a player that you've known for the past 5-6 years playing in Tier 2 in China. Instead, they try to go for a young gun who seems to be, punching, seems to be doing a very good job, at least locally, domestically as well. And a bit of a surprise, a bit of a fresh injection into the team, which I personally believe is what a lot of these other Chinese teams should be doing, instead of recycling all around. Now, you guys can talk about the players.
Well, I'll just point out we had Attacker as number 10 on our list, which I feel like, he sits in a pretty good spot. I wouldn't really change that at the end of his career or anything like that. I don't think there was a massive dip in, obviously there was a little bit of a dip in the performance, but, not enough that it and certainly didn't last long enough to say that, he should drop out of the top 10 there for me at all. But, look, stats-wise here as well, Pilski, on the topic of Zero, the numbers kind of speak for themselves a little bit in a way, right?
Yeah, they do. I think, it's fucking hilarious, by the way, that we're back in minus Attacker. He's been in and out of Tyloo, so many fucking times, and on the bench and this and that, plus Attacker, minus Attacker.
He's not really out, though, this time, He's not really out this time, so
I mean, he's benched. That's a minus. I'll count that as a minus Attacker. You could fucking fill up the whole doc with all of them. It doesn't even really show it properly, though, does it? Because
no, it does. It absolutely does.
Oh, it does. It does. Okay, can we scroll through it? It's gonna be so fucking funny.
So he's in from mid 2014 to early 2015.
Crazy, by the way. It's 2026, guys. That's a fucking career, bro.
He plays 200 days.
CSGO didn't even release properly in China for ages, and this guy was fucking playing officials in 2014. That is about as much of a career as you can fucking have.
Then he comes back.
He was playing alongside Captain Mo, the first mainstay in Tyloo when CSGO came out. So fucking legend. And he's only 29, by the way.
Yeah, so that means he started at 16, 17 in Tyloo, literally a Chinese teenager with some cracked aim. And played all the way until 29, and now he's getting on a bit.
It's so funny just seeing.
I think it's great. This is exactly the career trajectory that you'd want to see from someone in the Chinese scene.
It's so fucking crazy to see people like Peacemaker, Bondic, and then you have fucking Letney and Emmy, and fucking hell, dude.
Right, do you remember back in the day, Attacker? He had these crazy settings for his fucking aim and shit. He had raw input on, and a raw input scale. When no one was using that, so it would his aim would change. He had this snappy, fucking crazy aim that no one else had, because he used to play with these fucking weird ass settings some of the time, where it would be his but depending on how fast he swiped his mouse, his sense would be higher or lower. So he would do this crazy.
Did he have
shit.
dynamic? I don't remember. Like,
Yeah, I think he had dynamic raw input
That's
for a
insane.
while, and then he wasn't playing with it. I don't know. He changed it up a little bit some of the time, but I know for at least some of the time he was playing with these crazy raw input settings that no one else was playing really early on. So yeah, very interesting player with some fucking aim that looked like he was actually aimbotting sometimes. Back in the day, it was fucking crazy. But to finally talk about Zero, I mean, like Jordan said, we got to watch him at eXTREMESLAND. The exciting thing for me is he's replacing Attacker. He's 10 years or so Attacker's junior, right? And to be honest, there's nobody that I've seen in the Chinese scene for quite a while that like reminds me of the Tyloo players from back in the day this much. Like Zero is literally fucking Attacker or DD in like 2014 or 2015. Like he is this fucking aimer that he's running around the map, like snapping to people's heads. He's got fucking crazy crosshair placement, crazy mechanics. He is that fucking quintessential Chinese rifler that you would see in Tyloo. So the fact that he goes straight into Tyloo after showing that at eXTREMESLAND is actually chef's kiss for me. Like he is the exact player that I want to see join Tyloo. I don't necessarily think that they're going to become some incredible team or something. I'm really excited about the pickup, more excited than I am about the Mongolz pickup, to be honest. I'm really excited about Zero joining Tyloo. But I don't necessarily think it's going to translate to results or anything, but I'm just super excited about him as a player. Like you watch some of his games, go watch that Mirage game where his team got eliminated. And by the way, like I think what was his scoreline? Like 30 something, almost
19.
40 bombed. In an OT loss, he almost 40 bombed, and the rest of his team was absolutely shitting the bed. And he was doing fucking everything he could to try and win against Chinggis. Like he was going fucking ham, man. Like this guy, I'm super excited to see what he can put together. So, look, I think he's able to play in a system as well. Yeah, I mean,
that is insane.
Let
me ask you a question, right? Like, just broadly speaking, is there any other player, ignoring contracts and personal issues or whatever, who you would slot in for Tyloo over Zero?
Yeah, I mean, the Lin Vision guys probably like Starry. Like that.
I don't know.
Like,
I think I'm with Zero.
Well,
yeah,
no.
You've tried.
Yeah, they tried. They tried Starry. Yeah. So I don't think you would go Starry anymore. It would be like...
I think Zero might be the pick, like the only option, the best option. Yeah.
The thing is, he just doesn't have much experience at the top level. Like, this is literally a guy that's only played online tournaments, and then he's played this like Perfect World CAC or whatever it is, where you can see he's played a couple of games against some opposition where his team actually did pretty well. The interesting thing about his team as well is it's not like some Chinese pug team like brain dead cunts running around the map. Like legit, they actually had some fucking nasty strats. Like they had some really cheeky shit. Like their team name is Change the Game, and look, super niche, but like there was content pieces produced for eXTREMESLAND where they talked about their team, and they were like, we don't just want to be another team, like Chinese team that relies on our aim. Like we actually want to have good strats.
I mean, clearly,
good shit.
Most of them don't have the aim, so
that's not true. They're pretty. I honestly, that last game against Chinggis was rough, but I actually think a lot of the players on their team were interesting for me. Like they actually, a lot of their players I thought were something to look at. Like I've seen a lot of the Chinese players already for quite a while, and I've just been like, fucking, I've seen this player play a million times, you know, or I know what I'm going to get from this player. Here's a fucking 5-man team of players I've never fucking heard of in my life that like all had their moments and all kind of impressed me, and they played with good structure. They had some disgusting strats. Like on Inferno, they'd throw like a progression smoke to top mid, and then like 2 players walk into the smoke and like post on jungle side and dig side, and they nade open the smoke and just like entry the AWPer who's not even ready for the fucking smoke to be blown open and just pop A and shit.
Yeah, that's something I've seen like like top tier teams do, but not that often. And also, it's really tricky to pull off, right, in heat of the moment and shit. So yeah, cool stuff.
I mean, Zero was usually the player fucking sitting in the smoke, and I tell you what, like when the smoke gets blown open, it's an instant headshot. Like you're the AWPer holding the line, you get instant headshot by Zero. Like this guy is fucking crazy.
Goddamn. All right. All right. So we're happy. We're happy with Zero.
Yeah. And I think the last thing I'll say is that, you know, even though he's a pretty young player and we don't really, you know, have a lot of experience to necessarily look at, I think he's going into a good team, you know, particularly with the attacker to coach change. You know, you've got attacker there who's like kind of in the system already, understands his role, assuming Zero just slots in to sort of play those spots. You know, he can get a lot of one-on-one coaching potentially from Attacker. Zoking's there as well, two very experienced Chinese players. And we know that, at least historically speaking, I feel like Tyloo has probably been the best managed CS team in China, if that CS organization in China. There was a bit of a period there where they went a little bit sideways. You know, I'll say that there was probably about 12 to 18 months where things were looking a bit grim for Tyloo. But on the general management side of things,
I personally thought the Serbian Mongolian Tyloo was quite promising. They just got a bit unlucky,
yeah,
but you know, that's just my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, I think generally speaking, Tyloo have always kind of made good changes.
Don't push it. Don't fucking push it.
I totally agree. I think honestly, if you're someone like Zero and you've got Zoking Attacker as your coaches to tell you how to play as like a sharp as fuck rifler and like actually make it. If this guy doesn't become an elite rifler, then like, you know, it's GG.
You also have Jam Young to watch when you're dead.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, that's the thing. That's exactly what I want. I want fucking this cunt on the entry and Jam Young in every clutch, and I could see Tyloo winning some shit.
Like, honestly. Is this okay?
That's actually
bold prediction time, or bold question time, if you will. Is this guy potentially like the next Jam Young for China? Are we at that point yet?
Nah, because he doesn't play anything like him.
No, but like in terms of
prospects,
prospects
down the line, yeah.
You know, when we talk about the biggest names that have come through in Chinese Counter-Strike in the last sort of 5 years, Zaka, Jam Young, Mercury Mosea, probably other names. Is Zero potential to be like the next generation of that? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if he could be as good as Jam Young, but he could be very interesting to watch. It's like he's just not got enough to say that. Like, let's be honest though. Like it was great to watch him at Extremesland, and it seems like they're doing well in ECL, but it's Extremesland and ECL. He hasn't fucking, you know, you need to chuck him in like against some of the best teams in Asia. We need to chuck him in an EPL or something like that and see how he goes before we get super excited. But the raw potential and the mechanics are definitely there. But I've seen countless players with this kind of potential. I've seen in online or less pressure tournaments kind of flop. The good thing is Extremesland at least was on land, but at the same time, it's in China. You know, you're playing with a bunch of your mates that you're used to playing with. You know, this can be a kind of perfect storm tournament for him. But you know, Tyloo's given him a trial. I can imagine they would have had to pick at the bunch outside of contracts and stuff like that of whoever they wanted to pick up, and they've gone for him. So that hopefully means that in the tryouts as well as in the tournament, he's been in pretty good form, and hopefully that he could just keep that momentum going after having a good event at Extremesland and good placement in ECL, good trials in Tyloo, and just fucking keep rolling with that momentum. I don't want to see this guy like crumble at a big event or something, and then I get, you know, I start to get off the train a bit.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Get on the other train. Onto the FlyQuest discussion. Obviously, you know, if you haven't had your head under a rock, Regali has been benched. It seems like a mutual decision between FlyQuest and Regali that has been the case. But Regali's been benched. So he spent about 12 months with FlyQuest, and now he's, I would assume, going to greener pastures. I can only imagine that change happens as a result of Regali's wishes. I don't think FlyQuest would have wanted to remove Regali. I feel like he was one of their better players, one of their better pieces. So again, I don't know exactly. Obviously, I haven't had any internal discussions or behind the scenes discussions. This is all speculation, but my speculation is that Regali is looking for a better offer somewhere, and he's decided to sort of part ways with FlyQuest and at the end of his 12-month contract, I assume. Although I'm sure there's someone watching that can give us more details if they're so inclined. But on the other side of that, then obviously that means that FlyQuest need to find an AWPer. They need to replace Regali. Obviously, you're not going to ANZ at this point. You know, that's a tried and true kind of conversation that has happened many a times. And, you know...
Plus Ali.
Yeah, there's not really the talent in ANZ anymore with regard to the AWP. So they've gone international again, and they've signed Story, who previously used to play for Saw. Now that team obviously is going all their various different
ways. It's crazy,
ways.
Isn't it? Like that team is like giving life to like 3 different rosters right now. Like, it's crazy that usually you'll see like a team like that die, and like 1 or 2 of the players goes on to another team, and then like a bunch of them just like make a Portuguese electric boogaloo or whatever, you know, country they're from, and they're just kind of okay. But like legit, like almost every fucking player has gone somewhere. It's super interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, I look, again, I don't know that I have a huge amount necessarily to say about this one because, again, story is not someone that I've spent a lot of time watching. But by all accounts, it seems like a reasonable like for like. Not okay. It's like, don't get me wrong, not like for like in terms of playstyle, but like for like in terms of, I would say, reputation or skill level or addition to the team.
It's got to be better, hasn't it? Like fucking Saw has done better than.
He did do secondary calling.
Okay.
So I think from that standpoint, it is, it would be, I guess it'll make life a little bit easier for Internaza overall, right? Alping wise, I kind of agree. I think they kind of like side grade, it's not necessarily better. I don't think it's necessarily much worse either. But yeah, it's a news which surprised me, but also I wasn't like, oh shit, where do we go now? It's more like, yeah, all right, it's pretty much the same team,
Yep.
You don't think though that, like, because Regali was good. I think Regali was probably their best player, maybe until JKS has come in. But even then, like, I think you could argue he's still their best player. Yeah. But before that, like, I don't think Regali necessarily pulled off what Saw has done, like, over the last year and being able to actually make some decent damage and in some of these events. So I almost feel like it could potentially be a better player to be picking up, especially in terms of like being a player that's been able to upset some really good teams or make some deeper runs in some pretty decent European events. So I don't know, maybe some of that transfer can help FlyQuest a little bit more than just picking up a good European player who maybe hasn't been a proven winner as much or hasn't been able to put together as many upsets with like a proven core of players in terms of looking at what Saw's been able to do.
Yeah.
Also, just playing with Muterus as well, right? I mean, I have a lot of respect for Muterus, especially what he's done for the Iberian scene and his age in the region, for his veterancy, so to speak. And also, I think Story played for like 3-4 years with him or something like that, like pretty long time. So I feel like from that angle, yes, I think it's an absolute. I'm hoping to see better things, right? And I'm hoping to see, more importantly, lesser chokes. I think they're playing pretty good CS right now. They're just choking when it matters the most in some of these group stages. So hopefully he's able to kind of apply the Heimlich for the team.
Yeah, I would say my take on it is quietly hopeful, I guess, in a way. I think, again, like I said, it seems like a bit of a like for like in terms of the relative level that they're coming in with. But I think, based on the conversations that I've had as someone who hasn't watched a huge amount of Story play, most of the people that seem to be in the know seem to say, okay, this looks like a pretty good change. Yeah, I've heard that conversation around, him being a bit more of a vocal element in this lineup, which, like, I think that's definitely something that FlyQuest can benefit from. And, hopefully for him, he's going to be able to hit the ground running. Still a pretty young player, 23 years old, still got a little bit of time. So I would imagine it's not going to massively improve or like kill the team in a sense, but I could hope for a slight improvement, and a slight improvement, I think, at this point is really all that FlyQuest needs, given that they're on a bit of an upward trend. It hasn't been out of this world fantastic from FlyQuest in the last 6 months, but it's been trending positively. If it gets 1% better every month, at the end of the next year, already you're starting to see some pretty significant gains, and I think in that respect, even a slight positive addition in terms of whether it's mid-round calling or just some kind of different, not necessarily mentality but like vibe maybe that he brings to the team, as opposed to Regali being someone that can be relied upon late round. I don't know, Story might be a little bit someone that wants to get involved a little bit more early round, something like that. These things make a big difference potentially down the track, hopefully for this FlyQuest lineup. And I gotta say, I don't hate the change. I mean, it seems like it's one that's kind of, again, sort of semi been forced on the team, but I would say hopeful is probably the way that I come away from this.
I mean, that's exactly what they need. Like, they're just lacking the consistency. You've seen the ceiling of their play, like in that first little stage of the major, and then you see the fucking floor of their play. It's just about putting the pieces together and consistently being able to deliver the level of performance that they're capable of. And that's more of an intangible mindset thing, making sure that the players are kind of locked in and getting the game plan down, because I don't know, like, I can't tell you without being on the inside of FlyQuest what the exact issue is, but I've, coached teams where, the choke is super obvious and it's like, oh, this guy crumbles under pressure or this and that. And I've coached teams where it's a soft choke of like, when you get in the pressure games, like this person doesn't communicate the way he usually communicates, or he doesn't react the way he communicates. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit more pressed today. I'm going to use more util than I usually will. Now I got no util for the late round. I'm getting fucking banged by an execute or something like that. You know, it's hard to quantify what the kind of underperformance factor is in FlyQuest, but it's definitely an intangible one that needs to be solved by them kind of working through those issues and recognizing what they are, and then, you know, putting these systems in place to be able to deal with them, whether it's, you know, having the right players to bring them up in terms of the energy, or bringing the focus back, or, you know, as is, you know, working with the boys more and recognizing what the issues are so that they can work through them over time. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be a easy thing to fix, because we've seen them struggle with these kind of issues for years now.
All right, let's move on from that one, and we'll talk about Senzu. I think, again, this is probably what a lot of people have been waiting to hear us talk about. Not just the fact that he was a top 20 player of the year, but also, you know, the recent news that he's open to offers as well. So we can clump it all together. But just a few little side notes here, I guess, on the number 13. He's the first Asia-based player, or Asian player, since JKS on the top 20 since JKS in 2020. So he's eclipsed JKS there as well, by the way, because JKS was number 15 in 2019 and number 19 in 2020. So he's already gone above JKS in terms of that overall level. And I believe it's fair to say he's also the first Asia-based player, because back in those years when JKS would have made it into the top 20, he would have been playing on international lineups. So, you know, pretty impressive year, obviously, from Senzu. It could have potentially been even better had he not quit at the last couple of months. You know, if he would have played the last major of the year, IEM Chengdu, for example, as well, Controlez also played, could he have gone higher than 13? I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Could he maybe have made top 10 had they done really well at the major? Either way, you know, I think we have to sort of, again, congratulate Senzu on a great year of Counter-Strike, and again, you know, reiterate that he's done something that no Asian player in the past has done by making top 13.
I think, he could 100% be in higher up if not for the. I think they mentioned in the article as well. I'm not able to, you know, skim through everything right now, but you know, you considering the runs they had in Chengdu, in Hong Kong, as well as in the major making the playoffs, I 100% believe they would have gotten deeper with him. He would 100% crack top 10 if you look at it that way, right? So, bit unfortunate, but also able to do this while not playing basically the final quarter of the season, I think is super fucking impressive. The greatest player we've had from Asia. I think we can fairly say that right now, right? Solo, finally, number 2, my Korean GOAT out there. But yeah, that's about it. I think he's in the right place. I really can't place him much higher than this, even though you can make an argument like, you know, let's see what the people are above him. You have, you know, Messi. Look at the awards he's won, right? And then he's been the anchor of the year as well. Then you have Twist, overall, I was a little surprised about Twist being 11. I thought it'd be a little bit lower, but you can always make an argument for why he should be there. Then Spinks with with Mouse and K-Serrato and the wins they've had. So I feel like with Senzu, just the lack of trophies has been kind of detrimental to him, right, overall. But if you just look at purely the fragging ability, for me, just from the eye test, I think it was like, you know, top 10, you know, huge impact as well. But yeah, congratulations to him for that. Yep. We also had 910 in the top 30, which he releases the list.
I didn't actually see that.
Which I think it was like 28 or something like that, which I think is very deserved. I think it's been the other consistent piece. And the thing for 910 is, before, when Senzu used to struggle in playoffs, and 910 seemed to be the only guy who used to pop off in playoffs, if you remember. He used to be the guy who was consistently delivering, and just, you know, it didn't have to be like a 1.3 rating or something, but just like 1.15 or something in games that they would lose in the arena. So kind of deserved for the both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, look, let's just snowball that into the where does Senzu go from here discussion, because as far as I've known, or as far as I've heard, there's no confirmation necessarily. Maybe Bleh picked something up over at the HLTV Awards that he can sweet into our ears at some point. But yeah, I mean, I guess Mongolz were open to offers for Senzu, which means he's obviously still contracted to the Mongolz. So that first question then asks, why does he not come back into the Mongolz lineup?
Exactly. I think that is the question on everyone's side. I said it myself when the entire thing happened, when, you know, how sudden it was. And yet they were like, oh, there's something we spoke about. I'm like, no, there's not something you spoke about. They wouldn't pick up Controlez last minute, if that's the case. It's not something you discussed earlier. So clearly it came from Senzu, right? Let's look at it logically. Senzu's like, guys, I don't want to play. For whatever reason, and Mongolz like, oh, fuck, okay, now who do we get? Because if Mongolz planned to bench him, they would have had a player, ready to take up a slot way earlier. They've had discussions. So I think logically, it's kind of obvious that Senzu was the one who benched himself. And then now that the Mongols have decided, and he said, burnout, I'm tired, all of that, and now he's ready to play again, something doesn't compute. So fine, you had a burnout, you got really stressed. Very valid reasons to take a break, by the way, very valid. I'm not even being sarcastic here. Now, you've had your 2-3 months, on the bench. You've been looking, you've been taking a sweet time. Even they went on the Mongolian talk show, with the rest of his teammates. The vibes look pretty immaculate. They look pretty fun. They were, having a good time and everything. So now you're ready to play, but you don't want to play with the Mongols.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A top 5 team in the world.
Yeah.
And instead, you're going to want to be picked up by some other team. The only other team who can pick you up are not in Asia, buddy. Like, who are, worthy of
this
your
is what
skill
doesn't make
set.
sense to me, is if the argument was that I'm not going to play because I'm burned out playing this, in this environment
Traveling around
and
the
traveling and whatnot. Like, what do you think it's going to be like when you're playing in an international team? Like, surely it's going to be worse than playing for the Mongols, right? Okay, maybe
You're
I don't know.
not
Maybe
going to be home. You're going to be boot camping.
Well, maybe you're going to be set up in Europe. Maybe that's better for him. I don't know if it's like you're actually got a permanent base in Europe as opposed to a permanent base in Mongolia, so you don't have to keep doing that back and forth. That's a valid argument, I suppose. But for me, like, okay, the burnout discussion is one thing. You go away for a couple of months, I don't know. Just something's not fitting here to me.
The only thing that makes sense here, and again, this is me just talking out of my ass, is the fact that he wants, like you said, he wants to be in EU. He wants to travel more. He wants to,
But that doesn't track. More. That doesn't track with saying I'm burned out playing Counter-Strike.
Or maybe that's just excuses he's coming up with. Well, the rest of the Mongols are like, no, we want to go back home. We want to skip a couple of events here and there, and he wants to do the complete opposite. Maybe that's the politically correct.
It could be the other way around, though. Could also be the other way around.
It could also 100% be the other way around.
Suffering from burnout, he's the one that doesn't want to grind as much. I mean, haven't we had Mongols come into events and say they really haven't practiced much? Like,
yeah,
is he the reason?
What's that, sorry?
Is he the reason? Maybe.
He could be the reason. Somebody else could be the reason. But I could tell you, as a fact, over every single roster I've ever coached, obviously not anywhere close to this level, that there are completely different motivation levels for every single fucking player on a team. And there you are lucky if you get fucking 3 or 4 cunts who want to grind. But there's always one fucking guy that's a little bitch and he's like, man, we have to practice today. Like, I don't want to fucking do this. I didn't do my aim training routine. I didn't watch that VOD you sent me, blah, 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 blah. And these are young guys. These are young guys at the end of the day. And I'm not saying this is the case for Mongolz, but like, you've heard enough little breadcrumbs here and there to know, like, there's a little bit of something happening. I don't know who the culprit is. I don't even know necessarily who's in the right, who's in the wrong. And it doesn't even particularly matter. We've just ended up in this situation because clearly there's a mismatch of either commitment or not dealing well with interpersonal issues or not dealing well with burnout, which are, I have to say, not particularly easy things to deal with, especially for a team that's had as much of a meteoric rise as Mongolz. You can have these professional teams, some of the best in the world, that have been at that level, and these are big esports organizations that have been at that level, that have coaches that have fucking coached for years and years and years, and before that being players, or you have performance coaches that know how to deal with some of this shit, and they've been through this shit a million times. But for a team like Mongolz, as much of a G as Maaraa is, it's been a fucking meteoric rise, and I think that they're dealing with some of the abrasive kind of issues that result because of that. That would be my guess.
Or, as he's tweeted out, or like, so, there were tweets about this or articles about this. He said he's open to opping offers.
Yep.
Now, the Twitterati has replied back to my tweet, saying maybe that's why. Maybe he's like, I will be the opper now. And Maara's like, shut the fuck up and rifle.
Shut the fuck up and never touch the AWP again.
You stupid cunt. And this is where I might break my 2026 resolution.
No, it didn't even last 14 days. I knew 13 was unlucky.
You are one of the most gifted riflers in World Counter-Strike. Okay, one of the most gifted, like legit elite, super elite. Like if he could speak, English very well, or you could slot him into any top tier team out there, right? If language wasn't an issue, that's a given. Everyone knows it. Instead, you decide to play with the AWP in a game, CS2 by the way, where the AWP is notoriously fucking difficult, right? There are only a handful of people who can be super elite with that. I'm talking about literal, once in a generation prodigies like a Zaiwu, like a Monesi, and yeah, sure, and Shiro as well, or Molodoi, who, by the way, Rookie of the Year. That's how freakishly rare it is to have a great opper. Instead, Senzu's like, I actually want to op. And I met this, by the way, I met B-Trans, by the way, the guy whose tweet you pulled out. A really nice guy, super nerdy guy. And just the numbers itself. Forget the numbers, Jordan. How many times have you kicked a puppy watching this guy op on Mirage and literally throw the game for the Mongolz? It's like fucking 11-11. He's like, I want to get a double op out. Boom, dies. Picks up the second op again. I'm like, do you hate winning? Do you hate like having a good time in a server? Like, what are you doing? And everyone only remembers that, a couple of fucking no-scope rounds in Inferno Banana, that 3K no-scope against G2 on Dust. Oh my God, he can op. No. Look, he can op. Yeah, he can op. But if you're a team, if you are an organization and you buy out Senzu, you pay him a salary and you put him on the op, you're a stupid cunt and you hate money.
Yeah, Bleh, those are all good points, but I've also been a teenager who was the secondary AWPer in my team, and I got a 4K once on a round, and I thought, fuck, I'm actually pretty good with this weapon. And then I primary AWPed in my next team, and I was also dog shit. But look
at where you are right now in Valorant. You're in Valorant because of that. I don't want Senzu to go to Valorant or Deadlock or whatever. I want to remain in Counter-Strike.
Don't worry, he can't. If you're Mongolian, you can't.
And I'm back, guys. I'm back. I'm happy again.
God. It only took 50 minutes of Geographically Challenged.
I remember what it felt like to have that one good round as the secondary. We used to have a joke for it in some of my teams where like we would promote someone to a new primary, like you're the primary AWPer for this next game because you got like a good AWPing round, like we would it would be a fluid thing that like a joke going on in our team, and it used to make our actual primary AWPer really depressed because he'd be like, guys, can I please just AWP? And it'd be like, no man, I got a 4K last round, I'm gonna do it. So like it's all vibes, man. It's a vibes based decision. And look, I don't know. I feel like I've come full circle because I used to be like a super big numbers guy and used to think like, oh man, this or that. Like clearly the numbers doesn't support it. But I don't know, maybe I'm Valorant pilled because I keep seeing vibe-based decisions like pan out really well and win championships. So I'm feeling like
Don't piss me off here. I'm trying to be nice. Let's stop. No devil's advocate here. There's no. Stop it. The worst are some of the funny thing is half the Mongolians reply back to me like, no, that's a fair point. Why the fuck want to switch off? The other half were like complete Senzu pilled or more like idiot pilled or like, actually, why should you op? I'm like, because of the reasons just stated right there. Are you deaf, dumb, blind? Do you hate Senzu? Do you want his career to sink? You absolute loonies.
I got one question for you, but if AWPing is so hard, how come 910 has like 800 hours on Counter-Strike and he's the best AWPer, Like, is it really that hard? Honestly, I've seen you AWP in some of the 10-mans that we used, and you were actually fragging, and you're like 47. Like, you can't even move your arms anymore, bro. Like, is it really that hard? That's all I'm asking you.
It's not, but that's the thing. Sometimes you're born with it, right? Like me, for example. Like I'm gonna be 58. It's still like frag out with the. Okay, I'm done.
Best Indian player just chooses not to play.
just move on. Let's not talk about this anymore. I love Senzu.
No, we got to.
I think
because
he's the GOAT.
We haven't answered the all-important question of where is he going to go? Okay, where does he actually hope to go?
We just ignored the question.
Okay,
can we just spitball some ideas? Throw some ideas at me.
Like mid-take, he's not going to have a team for the next 3-4 months.
He's going to go into phase as the primary AWPer for Brokey.
Fuck you.
All right, what you got a better suggestion?
You know what? If he goes into phase and he just rifles and no one opts, I think that would be better. That would be
Five
great,
man rifle
actually.
lineup.
Dude, why the fuck not, dude? It's CS2. Imagine fucking, you got Jacob, you got this Senzu, and you got Twist running at you. I'm running away, dude. Like, that's actually kind of cracked.
I'm kind of trying to think what kind of teams would even pick up Senzu.
His English is pretty bad. I know everyone said about you know, like the pug game, the 10-man face it game they had in where was it? Was it Cologne? I believe it was. And everyone, he did say, you know, he really struggled with the comms. I'll be real, okay? I'll be realistic. You don't need to. He can speak English. I've met him. I've spoken to him quite often. Him, Mazzinho, 910, these guys, they don't speak a lot. But Senzu, once, you know, he's very shy. They're all kind of a lot of shy kids when they talk to people who are not, you know, a part of the team. He can speak English okay. It's not bad. It's only that you need to be faster and you need to speak good Counter-Strike English. Just clean, simple comms. I think that's very, very doable. It's not impossible for him to do that, but it will require a bit of a ramp up. Everyone brings up the Molodoi example, but he had Yakinda there with him to, you know, kind of make him feel comfortable getting into joining that team, right? Because even though the rest of Furia could speak English, Molodoi, when, for example, Yakinda used to translate a lot for him in between. Yakinda was doing the Bentet, basically. And now you can see he's much more comfortable and whatnot. He doesn't have that. You know, also Mongolian, one of the hardest languages in the world as well. So,
but like,
I don't see any of the top 10 teams picking up and taking a risk on that.
Really?
Right now. Also, money, dude. This guy should cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, he's not going Vitality. He's not going Furia.
I would think, I'm thinking like, just based on what kind of orgs would actually pick him up, like I can only look at, and I'm not talking about like what's happening with the roster right now. Like, I can only think of like FaZe, Na'Vi, Liquid.
I don't think it's FaZe because of the money issues right now. I don't think they're going to make any changes, right? Let's talk realistically, like not about who we would want them to pick him up. Aurora, no way. The teams down there, these are all national-based teams. Language issues.
A team like Aurora is not going to get him because they don't want to change from Turkish or something like that. You know,
exactly. That's the thing. The language barrier comes into play, right? 3D Max, for example, right there. All the Brazilian teams. I mean. MIBR, they tried recently, and that didn't quite pan out for them either. So G2? The only realistic team here, I don't think G2 is going to change them. I think they look really good right now. I think they're going to stick with this lineup for the season and see how it pans out. I think they also won an event recently, if you forget, like they beat Vitality, right? So I think that they're not going to change. Na'Vi, I know there's all those rumors. I don't think it's going to come in instead of fucking Lexi B.
No, that would be
Na'Vi
ridiculous.
is the
Senzu,
only
IGL,
option.
or Bleh.
I would rather die than watch that. I would
rather literally just kill myself in a
Can
video
you
game.
imagine Blair reading him the whole document and he's just like, oh, we go B, guys. Like,
I've got a great photo of Blair.
Guys, you go B. I admit.
Let me just see if I can find this photo of Blair that will describe the exact mentality.
Blair's gonna get like he's actually gonna kill what's left of his liver if that happens. Like it's only hanging on. It's barely hanging on.
No, my liver's in great shape actually.
Oh really?
I got to check recently, and they were like, "Oh man, you're in great shape." I'm like, "Holy shit, this is impressive."
How's that possible?
It's just been put through so much stress that it's only gotten stronger.
Yeah, like what doesn't kill you.
All right. Hans is only getting better though. Imagine Senzu to Hans.
Senzu to Hans.
Senzu to Hans. Controlez. You know, which team is coolest on? Is Genghis Warrior still?
Yeah. Look, 9 score, Bartak, Zerolt controls. You put Senzu instead of Bartak or Zerolt. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you could name any Mongolian player, even on Mongolz, and you put Senzu in instead of him, and you're like, yep, that's good.
I mean, I would rather still have score at 9 because they have at least have some moments, right?
Oh yeah. But like,
all right, let's move on.
Like,
let's move on.
If you put him on Hans, that'd be sick.
I can't find this photo anyway, but it's funny. Anyway, whatever.
Is it a pain photo?
It's like one where you look purple, bro. I don't know. I'll show it to you after.
Yes, I know exactly. It's like it's got the like faded text on top.
Yeah.
Like pain. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
All right. Anyways, next topic. Still on the topic of Mongolia, we've got potential rumors brewing of the return of the old Atox core, that being obviously MIQ, Accuracy, and Zesta. They would be in this world joined by Erkast in a return to the playing arena, and then Oceana. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. He's still pretty fresh. It's like Ocean with an A at the end. Ocean A is his name.
So Oceania without the I.
Yeah, Oceania without the I.
Missed it here so much. He picked up a player called Oceania.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting prospect. Obviously, you know, if you have a look at these players, MIQ is the one that has the longest ban, which is a 1-year ban starting in March 2025. Accuracy and Zesta, I think, are both 8 months, so they're probably about ready to go almost. You know what I mean?
Like if it was in March, then they're good.
Is it?
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they're good.
Now,
they're good.
as of the 5th of January, would that be right? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Either they've just been unbanned or they're about to be unbanned. Obviously, what it hinges on will be MIQ 12 months. Once 12 months is up, you know, potentially we see this team start playing as of, you know, mid-March 2026, which I think, you know, I'm interested to see what they're going to be able to do, because obviously all these 3 of these players have had a 1-year break from the competitive scene. Erkast has had a very significant break from playing competitively. He's obviously been coaching, but you know, will this team come back and like take that slot that Atox was holding? Because like, bear in mind, this is 3 out of 5 of the Atox core, and in theory, it was the 3 out of the 5 that were not actually actively match fixing. They might have just been aware of it or whatever.
Just passively match fixing.
Just passively, not a big deal. Yeah, so, you know, in theory, they come back, and if they're trying 100%, you know, and you add Erkast, you add this Oceania guy, are they a good team? Are they good enough to get better than the Huns? I would say no. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be a pretty big road for these guys to get back to top 2.
I don't know if they're going to be better than Chinggis.
No, I think,
to be honest,
they've got a lot of catching up to do. Would be my take.
Yeah, I mean, Chinggis has got Yami, Kulas, E-Fire, Tikuak, and Rooks. I don't think they're better than that team.
No, by the way, we haven't even talked about Tikuak, and we'll talk about that in Extreme Side as well.
Tikuak cracked.
Nice.
Is that good? Is that a good one?
That's the kind of quality content that gets you a Valorant job.
Yeah, you can just say buzzwords and punchlines and don't do any actual analysis. And
Can't even swear.
Fuck that.
I've gotten away with it with the Australian card.
Nice.
That's fine.
The A card.
Yeah, the A card. Yeah. Yeah, I think Chinggis is pretty good with Tikuak, to be honest. This Tikuak guy is fucking crazy. I don't know if you've seen him, Bleh. I don't know if we talked about him from EXTREMESLAND.
No, we might as well talk about EXTREMESLAND now.
We haven't actually spoken about
the fucking truth. Like, that's another player. Like, I enjoyed this event so much, not necessarily because, like, the games
Event was kind of smooth, though. It was kind of fun. I tuned in for a bit.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I don't have too many complaints. But like, we saw some, like, the great thing about it was we saw some players that, like, were like up and comers and you guys that I'd never heard of that were fucking crazy. And it's this perfect event for them to kind of prove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So Tikuak in the Mongolian scene, apparently he played on Mongolz Academy or something, Jordan was saying.
Yes.
And we watched him play at this event and he was fucking crazy. Like, he was a guy I'd never heard of. He's very young. How old is he? Let's click his profile.
Oh,
he is 16 and he came into Chinggis and he was the best player on Chinggis. Like,
why didn't
immediately?
Quick question. Like, I know this name came about earlier as well. Why wasn't he an option for Maaraa? You reckon a little too young, too inexperienced, perhaps?
I don't know, but to be honest, Tikuak is exactly the kind. Like, he is the most Maaraa pickup I could have imagined. I would have seen. I could definitely. He is like a Mazzinho or someone like that. You know, he's literally this 16-year-old kid. He was playing at EXTREMESLAND. He was fragging the fuck out, wearing a full necklace of pearls. For some reason, like, he was wearing a pearl necklace in every game, and he was fucking crazy. That's
because he was handing them out. Because he was handing them out, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, what a chat!
Like, legit. What can I say about him? Stylistically, like, I was talking about Zero, how he's like this, you know, a typical Chinese like aimer. Like, you know, Tikuak was very much like cerebral clutch player. Like, he was never out of position. Like, he's someone that I could see his game style transitioning to elite CS. Like, he was very, very, very measured. They were putting him in the clutch. He had some fucking great aim. Every time he was in like a position where you're looking at him and you're like, you need to get this kill, he fucking got it every time. Like, he was very, very
kind of like kind of like an Elige style player, I guess.
Yeah,
Safe.
like honestly, he reminds me of like his style. I could see like similar to a lot of these like very elite like European players. It's like very dependable rifler that you'd see on like a fucking Mouse or something like that. But that's at this level of competition, you know. Like, and again, it's one event. I don't want to get too carried away, but from what we saw from tikuak at this event, he is the Mongolian player I'm most excited about at the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to say, I mean, if we continue the EXTREMESLAND discussion here just quickly, it was a very messy event in terms of the place. The gameplay was pretty average across the board, I would say, for the most part.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Rooster was a dead team. Rare Atom definitely looked in all sorts. Lin Vision looked in all sorts. You know, Eruption and Chinggis Warriors, they're Mongolian teams, so they just do some weird shit at times. And then Gigi Hao had fucking Boros doing whatever the fuck he wanted. Boros was doing his best somebody impression in 2026. Well, it was 2025 when he did it, but you know,
Boros was fucking smurfing.
Yeah, he was.
Like it was unreal. It was like I was watching an ESEA pug back in the day, and Boros was the cunt that was like 24 RWS every fucking month, just farming the pugs. Yep. Like, and that was the gameplay as well. Like the Boros was literally like, I could just run up catwalk on Dust 2 with a rifle and headshot the guy in mid. Like he
would just walk somewhere on the map and get 3 kills, and you were like, how's he done that?
He would be T-side Dust 2, and he'd be like, I think I can double entry this B site, and he would just walk into upper tunnels and just like headshot the side anchor and then kill the rotator as well, and be like, oh, we just won the round.
Yeah,
cool.
I don't think we can ever like question or doubt Boros's just raw ability. It's just everything else outside of that, right?
He definitely had the correct mouse equipped this event. That's all I can say.
For sure.
Fucking crazy comp.
Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for them to actually win, though. I mean, they didn't win that grand final, which was the surprising part to me.
Didn't they bang them on the first map? GG Hao, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, GG Hao kind of banged them on the first map. It felt like, at least. Like, I think they were up in the first half 6-1. Like the first 7 rounds of that grand final, I was like, Chinggis Warriors are going to get fucking fisted this game. And then, yeah, Chinggis like really kind of came back. I saw a lot of like tenacity from Chinggis in this final. I think even Inferno, weren't they down, or it looked like they were going to lose? Yeah, they looked like they were kind of going to lose. GG Hao was on a bit of a run, and then they won.
I remember they came back in the second half and they got it to OT, and then it was like, oh, okay, they're going to win the OT and go map 3.
It was, and tikuak was really, really good on that second map. On Inferno, tikuak was legit saving them. Like he was in, I think there was multiple like 2-on-4s or 2-on-5s that like, I remember GG Hao had like the man advantage in almost every round. And like legit, there was like crazy 3-on-4s, 3-on-5s, like 2-on-5s, shit like that. Like it would be tikuak and like one cunt. And they would just like, it was like the round was over and GG Hao would be playing all the safe positions. And they would just like get the 2 kills they needed to get into like the small site on Inferno and then win the post plant. Like it was crazy shit like that. Yep. And tikuak was like crazy. He was just legit popping the fuck off.
Anyway, not much more to really say about EXTREMESLAND. It was obviously a nice win for Chinggis. I think GG Hao probably a little bit disappointed not to win that one, particularly, you know, having just added Mytha in. Changed the game, were impressive, but maybe not a team anymore. Rooster were thereabouts, I guess. They were average for the expectations. Made top 4, which is... top 8, I should say. They didn't make top 4, which was in line with what Semperfi was able to do last year.
ASAP was great this event.
ASAP was really good.
ASAP was, again, just like one of the best players coming out of OCE.
Yeah, and then Rare Atom and Envision, like we said, kind of shit the bed.
Yeah.
Although that Chen King guy seemed like he was kind of decent. Yeah. Like, they picked him up into Rare Atom, and he came from like their academy team, supposedly. I was trying to ask Kaze a little bit about him, and you know, Kaze was a man of few words as usual. I'm like, hey man, is Chen King good? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, what's his background? Like, where's he come from? He's in our academy team. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Like, all right, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, they only played 4 maps, so there's only so much you can really read into there. But he was their highest rated player. And then the only other real point to touch on was Deep Cross Gaming got a little bit unlucky with the format. And again, the Filipino kids come out and kind of impress, right? Clyde was pretty good at this event.
Yeah. The thing I like about Deep Cross is they don't give a fuck. Like they play like an underdog team, and they will just like, it'll be like CT Pistol on the first round of the series against a like team that they should lose to, and they will just like 5-man down mid on the CT pistol. Like they're that kind of team where they just fucking send it, and I like that shit. I like that underdog energy.
Yep. All right, enough about Extremesland. One more topic to go before we wrap up the episode. Train is out. Anubis is in, not Cage.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I have a few. Firstly, I would love for them to do this as soon as the major ends, not a week before the season starts.
Yeah.
I think this has been said many times that it happened, even like last year, middle of last year when they brought in, what was it, Train? Yeah, it was Train and Overpass, right? Overpass after it.
That's the thing. I don't understand why they don't announce stuff like this at events. Like you see it in other Valve games that like announce a new fucking hero or some shit, or like Valorant will announce an agent at the event. It's like, why don't they just announce it at the event, bro?
Especially because a major is technically a Valve event, right? But also it's not a Valve event because they just, it's a TO doing it separately. And dude, like I've only seen the Valve guys, bear in mind, I've only gone to majors since post-COVID, right? But I've only seen like maybe 3-4 majors tops, basically. So I guess they just want to do things their way, right? The CSGM has always been unique. But I feel like just announcing it earlier, I don't think it's a big deal, dude. Just like let people know, right? Just let us have some timeline how it is. So a lot of people coming in for Blast Anubis is going to be weird, man. Right? And a map will sudden change. And sure, for the average viewer, it might be like, oh, it's going to make things exciting. But is it, though? It just feels like a little bit too much of randomness. Anubis coming in, I think, is cool. I like Anubis. I like the map quite a bit, even though everyone on the T side and all of that. Also heard that Valve, I think Chad put a tweet out saying that Valve will be pushing out new changes as, in the next month or so. So I'm looking forward to that. I've never been against the map being T-sided. I, for one, like it. If you're going to have C-sided maps, why can't you have T-sided maps, right?
Yep.
But a couple of changes would be interesting. I think that's cool. What saddens me is Train getting taken out, because I think Train was evolving. We were seeing a lot of cool stuff coming out from the pros as well. Sure, the casual fan didn't play it. We all know why it got taken out. It was the least played map, even worse than Overpass, right? But from the pro side of things, man, I was really enjoying how it was slowly but surely becoming a pretty played map in the pro circuit, because you have all these kind of like tier 1.5 teams who would pick the map in, trying to catch a lot of teams off guard and trying to make things uncomfortable for them, right? Kind of a punish pick, so to speak. So disappointed with Train's removal. Reasonably happy with Anubis, but overall, I just want to see, and this is my final thought. I made a tweet out as well saying, can we put in new maps? Like, you had Ancient coming in, you had Anubis coming in, which everyone's like, oh my god, what the fuck? And these two maps were played by almost everybody, right? It's fucking cool. Yep. Instead of just putting some fucking facelift and bringing back Overpass, with just a facelift, nothing really been changed, right? Train was basically a facelift as well, right? They didn't really switch too many things around, apart from a couple of boxes being added here and there. And instead of that, I'd like a new map coming in. Fuck Cash as well. Like, I would love to see Cash, but if you throw in a brand new map, which we haven't really seen, could be a community map, could be something that Valve have cooked up themselves, I would like that. I think that would really shake things up, not just from the pro side of things, but also individually, learning a brand new map. I think it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, random Valorant facts, they rotate 2 maps in and out of the map pool regularly, sometimes multiple times a year, with the, ranked competitive season. And the pro scene map pool reflects the casual in terms of what's rotating in and out of the ranked map pool, and I really like that. And I really love that. That's not just map changes. You also have agent changes, and they tweak maps really quite often. They change the layouts on maps. Some of those kind of Reddit theory crafters where people were like, what if you just changed how a bomb site was laid out every now and then to give a map a different feel? This is the kind of shit that they actually do in Valorant, like, pretty often. They'll rotate 2 maps in for a season, and they'll completely change like a site on one of the maps, or if one of the maps is like, people complain about it being too retake heavy or something like that, they add more boxes into the site so people have more space to play on site. And it doesn't always...
More boxes and Valorant maps,
or more cover or something. They don't always get it right. It isn't always amazing changes. It isn't always the perfect thing, but it's constantly evolving, and it's always something a little bit different, which I personally prefer to CS, which is very slow moving and nothing really changes very much over time. Although that is the beauty of it, and this is something that I've kind of come full circle on, because back in the day I was super CS elitist, and I used to look at esports games, and even, to be honest, participating in the Valorant ecosystem, I've literally coached a team where the meta was really good for us and a specific style was really good for us, and then we went into the most important tournament of the year and the whole meta changed with like 10 days notice or something, and we lost because of it. So like, yeah, it can really fuck you up when things change all the time, but I still prefer it that way, especially maybe being a little bit more of a on the casual side, obviously, like, you know, casting or doing analysis or whatever. You're not as invested in the outcomes of the games. You know, like when you're an esports competitor and something changes that doesn't favor you, maybe you're like fucking Mouse and you're insane on train or something and it goes out of map pool. Yeah, that fucking sucks for them. You know, like being an actual player, it fucking sucks. But being a fan or being a casual person, it's exciting, and I prefer it that way.
I agree with you with the map thing, but obviously for Valorant it's a lot of other changes as well, right? Agents coming in, new agents, all of that. I'm not a big fan. I mean, at least with CS, I don't think it makes sense, right? And we don't have those changes as well.
That kind of changes too much for CS, but like they need slightly more.
But yeah, I agree, 100% agree. I think maps especially, I don't even know about the 2 map change. Even 1 map change, I think it's fine, in all honesty, right? But just the small things, right? Like, announce it as soon as the match is done, right? So we have like the entire player break for people to kind of be ready for the next season with the new map and all of that. Also, can we, instead of just recycling the same maps, guys, like we have one of the biggest communities of maps out there, just use them,
The thing that I will say that I like about 2 map cycle is that it can fundamentally change what styles are good in the meta in general. Like if you take out, like, let's use CS as an example, right? If you take out fucking...
That's a crazy idea on a CS podcast.
What do you mean?
To use CS as an example?
Yeah, you see CS as an example, right? Like you take out Nuke and Train and put in fucking Cash and like another like looser map, like different teams will be different teams will be better all of a sudden, or different styles will be or instantly better. And then maybe you take out 2 and you put in some really tactical maps for the next cycle, and it really actually informs a lot more what styles are good and what teams can actually adapt their style, or maybe certain teams fall behind because a certain style isn't as good or whatever. I actually kind of like that, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Yeah, good take. I kind of agree. Train out, not so happy. Anubis in. I don't actually mind. I like Anubis. So
I like Anubis.
It's just I would have liked I would have liked Inferno out instead. Because fucking Inferno.
I mean, I'll tell you this, right? Playing Train in Pugs on Faceit is, I just want to stab myself. Literally just stab myself in every orifice I have, because no one knows what to do.
No.
At least with Anubis, people run out, they take some fights. It's especially T-side, right? It's so much harder to T-side of Train. And I love it. I'm like, guys, let's slow things down, and I'll do a full exec. I'll take care of this. Like, to slow things down. 3 guys run out of mid. Everyone's dead. I'm round's done. I'm just sitting on my fucking ass.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing in Val. There are certain maps that I like queue into it in ranked or something, and we're playing the T side, and how it operates in pro play. It's very intricate. There's like a certain set of things that you're supposed to be doing. You have to run these protocols, but like instead it's just like, fuck, I died. Now I get to watch these fucking cunts stare at walls for 50 seconds and no idea what they fucking do, and it's painful. It makes you want to punch yourself in the head. So
right. Well, that's the end of the episode. So you guys are going to have to go and stare at walls yourself, because there's no more Geographically Challenged to watch. Anything you guys want to say before we go? Start of a new year. Is it going to be Asia's best year? I'm saying no.
I say
it's going to be hard to beat 2025.
Listen, here's the thing. The Austin Major finals, I think that is obviously the peak, right? Yeah, for everyone. But taking that aside, I think it's overall going to be a better year for Asia. I think Tyloo's change is going to be good. I think Controlez, I'm telling you, Mongolz going to win a trophy in the next first 6 months.
Right.
And we're going to see maybe a 3rd best Asian team coming out. Huns are going to look good with Controlez there, right? I think it's going to pan out well. And also, by the way, if Senzu does fucking join FaZe the fuck up, baby. Let's go. We got an Asian player there. That counts for us. So, yeah, it is going to be the best Asian year of Counter-Strike. Listen, Jordan, I've turned over to a new leaf. I'm positive.
He had a little relapse. He had a little relapse in the middle of the episode.
That's fine. How long was this podcast? Like an hour 15?
Hour and 18 minutes.
Relapse?
There was about 10 minutes. 10 minutes?
5, maybe 7.
Yeah.
But I was right.
That's good enough.
It was a justified crash out. It was a justified crash out. Yeah.
I think it's looking promising because not necessarily because of Mongolz. I think Mongolz are going to probably be about where they are. Maybe they might even decay a little bit depending on the form of some of the other teams. What I'm more excited about, to be honest, is that what I feel like is the best team in every scene is looking good. Like FlyQuest is looking better. Huns is looking better than they have before, and fucking Tyloo just made a really good change. So I think that the overall level in the competition in Asia should be looking pretty promising. And I think if all of those teams get their shit together, then we could actually have a lot of different teams from diverse parts of APAC be like somewhat competitive at a tier 2 level.
Yeah. And I think a few of those teams are going to play at the ZTech Elite Masters as well. I don't know if you guys saw that. That just as an aside.
For me. Sorry,
buddy. You've got Chinggis Warriors, FlyQuest, Huns, Lin Vision, Rare Atom, GG How all playing that. Eruption.
That's stacked.
CTG, obviously -0, I assume, although he's still listed there on Wikipedia for them. So there's quite a number of Asia teams playing in that, and that is starting in 4 days' time. So on the weekend after this episode releases. So that'll be probably pretty cool. That'll be probably the first like Asia-based tournament to keep an eye on for those of you that are hoping to do so. But yeah, first episode of the year down and dusted.
There's been so many in a row, bro. There's so many fucking APAC events going on back to back.
I know, we're so back, dude. We're so fucking back.
We're so fucking back. All right, well, we're going to go back to doing nothing.
Back shots.
Back shots for the boys. Shout out to the boys one time.
Yeah, it's fucking hell. All right.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you want a back shot from Pilski, Bleh, or Elfishguy. Write in the comments who you'd like it from.
All three.
Or all three at once. It costs more.
All three of us.
Fuck. Why have I said that? I don't know.
You're single and
I like this new Jordan. I like new unhinged Jordan. This is great.
I've got some stories to tell you. This gun is unhinged, but it's not safe for podcast.
Hey guys, just at the end of that video and heading into 2025, I want to give a massive shout out to Jean, who has been a big supporter of mine on buymeacoffee.com/Elfishguy. She's been a member for over 12 months. And if you'd be interested in supporting my content and getting this content grind going, then head over there as well and check it out. Thank you very much.